Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our story corner. Snuggle up tight, get cozy in your beds, and let your imagination take you on a wonderful journey. Tonight, we're traveling to a land of sunny meadows and deep green forests to hear a tale about three very different friends: a tiny mouse, a roaring lion, and a sleeping giant. Once upon a time, nestled deep within a vast and beautiful kingdom, lived a tiny mouse named Pip. Pip was no ordinary mouse. He had the bravest heart in the whole wide world, packed neatly into his very small body. His fur was the color of soft gray clouds, and his whiskers twitched with curiosity about everything. Pip's home was a cozy little burrow under the roots of a giant oak tree, right at the edge of Sunbeam Meadow. Every morning, Pip would scamper out to greet the day. He loved the smell of morning dew on the grass and the taste of sweet red berries. But most of all, he loved exploring. One sunny afternoon, while chasing a particularly bouncy grasshopper, Pip ventured further than he ever had before. He found himself at the entrance of a dark, cool cave. A deep, rumbling sound echoed from within. It sounded like distant thunder. But Pip, being the brave mouse he was, wasn't scared. He was curious. Tiptoeing inside, his eyes adjusted to the dim light. There, stretched out on the stone floor, was a magnificent lion. This was Leo, the king of the forest. He had a mane like a golden sunrise and paws as big as dinner plates. But Leo wasn't roaring or looking kingly at all. He was whimpering, a soft, sad sound. And Pip saw why. A thick, nasty thorn was stuck deep in Leo's mighty paw. "Oh, you poor thing," squeaked Pip, his brave heart filled with sympathy. Leo opened one big golden eye and looked down at the tiny creature. He was in too much pain to roar. "Don't worry," said Pip. "I might be small, but I have sharp teeth and nimble paws. I can help you." Before the great lion could even blink, Pip scurried onto his paw. He gripped the thorn firmly with his teeth and pulled with all his might. Wiggle, jiggle, pull. With a final tug, the thorn popped out. Leo let out a sigh of relief that rustled Pip's fur. He licked his sore paw and then gave Pip a gentle, grateful nudge with his nose. "Thank you, little one," rumbled Leo, his voice much friendlier now. "I am Leo. I misjudged you because of your size. You have the courage of a lion." From that day on, the tiny mouse and the roaring lion became the best of friends. Pip would ride on Leo's back as they explored the forest together, the king of the beasts and his tiny, brave companion. They shared stories, meals, and many sunny afternoons. Their friendship was the talk of the forest, but their biggest adventure was yet to come. High up on the tallest mountain overlooking the kingdom lived a giant. His name was Phineas, but everyone just called him the sleeping giant, because that's mostly what he did. He had been asleep for 100 years. His snores were the rumbles of thunder people heard on clear days, and his sleepy sighs were the winds that rustled the trees. The problem was, the giant slept right across the great river, the only source of water for the entire kingdom. Over the years, his enormous, sleeping body had slowly shifted, acting like a dam. The river's flow had trickled to almost nothing. The grass in Sunbeam Meadow was turning brown, the berries were shriveling, and all the animals were terribly thirsty. The kingdom was in trouble. The animals held a big meeting. A grumpy badger suggested they all poke the giant at once. A wise old owl suggested they sing a very, very loud song to wake him up. But Leo, the Lion King, knew this was a delicate situation. Waking a grumpy, sleepy giant could be very dangerous. He turned to his wisest and bravest friend. "Pip," he said, "what do you think we should do?" Pip twitched his whiskers in thought. Poking and shouting seemed rude. "Maybe," he squeaked. "We don't need to wake him up in a scary way. Maybe we just need to tickle him." The other animals stared. Tickle a giant? It sounded silly, but Leo trusted Pip. "It's the best idea we've had," he roared. "We'll try the gentle way first." So, Leo and Pip began their long journey up the mountain. It was a difficult climb, but they helped each other. Finally, they reached the top. The giant was even bigger up close than they could have ever imagined. He was like a mountain himself, with a beard like a tangled forest and a nose the size of a hill. He was snoring peacefully, a huge puff of air coming from his nose with every breath. "Okay, Leo," Pip whispered. "I need to get to his ear." With a mighty yet gentle heave, Leo tossed Pip up onto the giant's massive shoulder. Pip carefully scampered across a landscape of worn-out fabric, over the hill of the giant's shoulder, and towards the cave of his ear. He took a deep breath, and then, using his long, soft whiskers, he began to tickle the inside of the giant's ear. Wiggle, wiggle, twitch. At first, nothing happened. Pip tickled again, a little more this time. The giant's face scrunched up. A deep groan rumbled from his chest. He mumbled in his sleep, "Oh, a fuzzy bug," and rolled his head to the other side. Pip almost fell off. He held on tight and scampered over the giant's nose to the other ear. He tickled again, this time with his tail too. He tickled and tickled and tickled. Suddenly the giant's eye, as big as a pond, slowly creaked open. He saw a tiny mouse dangling from his earlobe, but he wasn't angry. He blinked, and then a slow, sleepy smile spread across his face. "Well, hello there, little fellow," his voice boomed, shaking the very ground. "It's been a long time since anyone woke me up with a tickle." Pip, feeling very brave, squeaked, "Hello, Mr. Giant, sir. My name is Pip. We didn't mean to bother you, but the river has stopped flowing, and everyone is very thirsty." The giant, Phineas, sat up slowly. The whole mountain seemed to move. He looked down and saw how his body had blocked the great river. "Oh my goodness," he boomed. "I am so sorry. I've been having such a lovely dream. I didn't realize I'd caused such a problem." With one easy movement, he shifted his legs, and with a mighty whoosh, the water of the great river was free. It surged down the mountain, filling the riverbed, watering the meadows, and bringing life back to the kingdom. Down below, all the animals cheered. Phineas the giant looked at the tiny mouse on his hand and the proud lion at his feet. "You two are very brave," he said. "You could have shouted or poked me, but you chose to be gentle and kind. That is true strength." From that day on, the three of them became the most unlikely and wonderful trio of friends. Phineas the giant made sure never to block the river again. In fact, he'd often sit by its bank, letting Pip scamper through his beard while Leo told them both stories of the forest. And so, the tiny mouse, the roaring lion, and the now wide-awake giant showed everyone in the kingdom that it doesn't matter how big or small you are. A kind heart and a brave spirit are the most powerful things in the world. And sometimes, the gentlest solution, like a little tickle, is the very best one of all. Now, it's time for you to close your eyes, little adventurers. Dream of brave deeds, unlikely friendships, and the magic of being kind. Good night, sleep tight, and may your dreams be as wonderful as our story.